In this edition of INN CEO Talks, I'm joined by Stephen Hansen, a director and the president and CEO of Acme Lithium. Stephen, welcome back.
Good to be here, Stuart.
You know, the last time that we talked, which is about 6 months ago, you had some pretty exciting, next steps in Nevada. How's that panned out for viewers who have been waiting to hear what's happened between then and now?
Well, it's been a busy time at Acme Lithium. We've had our running shoes on, and really there's a fair bit of buildup that goes into what is going to be a very exciting winter season for us. As you mentioned, we made a discovery at our lithium brine project in Nevada, in Clayton Valley. It's the epicenter of lithium development in the U.S. We neighbor the only lithium production in the United States in Clayton Valley at Silver Peak. We're the northwest neighbor contiguous to that project, and we made a lithium brine discovery in July. So that immediately allowed us to move to a phase 2 program that we've been working on procurement and planning and most importantly permitting. And that leads us up to this point today here in December. We have all our permits in place and we have rigs being mobilized here in the next 10 days. And we're going to begin drilling this phase 2 program here very shortly. So it's exciting times at Acme Lithium. We look forward to delivering on results for our shareholders. It's going to be a very busy winter.
So phase 1 drilling confirmed that you've got a resource there and it's moved you through to phase 2. But how exciting was the news on that phase 1 drilling?
Well, we didn't in fact identify a resource. In this business, what you need scale and you need grade. We have grade. We have lithium brine, certainly from the old ancient lake bed and lithology that's been producing for many decades. This phase 2 program is really to identify whether we have a resource or not. And that's about economics. So these are water wells, brine wells, and what we need to do as part of this phase 2 program is to do a pump test to understand pressure and how much liquid is there. And then these exploration holes really are to define the resource in its scale in that region. So although we made a discovery in the summer, this phase 2 program is really important to us in understanding if in fact we do have an economic resource. And we're hoping to deliver on that over the next few months.
So looking very positive there. We've talked about how wonderful in a way it is to work in a mining jurisdiction such as Nevada. But for viewers who are not familiar with the project, give them a sense of location and access to infrastructure, because this is always important as well.
Well, the Fraser Institute recently named Nevada the #1 jurisdiction in the world for the resource sector, in particular in mining. There's a long history in Nevada dating back to over 100 years. There's infrastructure in place, and what's great about Nevada is you can work there 12 months of the year. You're not in the Arctic or in a jungle somewhere. You don't have seasonality issues, although there may be a week or two where in the low-lying foothills you might have a little bit of snow. We can work there 12 months of the year. You have access to great technical teams and people and services. In many cases, our crews, we don't need to build a camp. You know, they can go to bed at night in their own beds or a nearby hotel, and if you need a wrench, you can go to Home Depot. So, you know, there's favorable attributes to Nevada, and again, from a government standpoint as well, the Department of Mines, the Bureau of Land Management are all familiar with this type of activity. So it's a great place to be working. We're really pleased with how things have developed in Nevada. We don't have any issues with regard to community. They're all supportive, and in many cases, there's generational people that have been in the resource sector. So Nevada's a great place to work, and we're hoping to continue to expand our program over time.
I think it's worth revisiting as well how important lithium sourced in the United States is now and is going to be moving forward as we move towards this green technology driven economy that's being supported by the President of the United States and the need for a domestic supply. How important does Nevada then become when we take those considerations into account?
Well, if we think about lithium and we open up our cell phones and our tablets and our laptops and we use our wireless power tools and now we drive in our hybrids and electric vehicles, we take it for granted that lithium is readily available. And that in fact is not the case. lithium is, the majority of lithium is produced in only 4 countries, that being Australia, China, Chile, and Argentina. And there's a lack of domestic supply here in the United States and in Canada. And in fact, there's only one place lithium is produced, and that's at our neighbor here at Silver Peak in Clayton Valley. So really, it's now become a crisis. It's an economic crisis. It's also a national security issue. And this is why we're seeing federal governments in the U.S. move rapidly to ensure that there is the right support in making sure that we have a domestic supply in lithium. So Acme Lithium has a great portfolio of projects in Canada and the United States. Our goal here in Vision is to be an end supplier to the battery factories that are being built and that are already here, and to make sure that the major auto manufacturers and technology companies have a steady supply over years to come.
Well, it's important, I think, also to note that for the last decade, there has been no new production that has come online. And so there is this critical need. We are reaching a very important tipping point.
Well, and President Biden invoked the Defense Production Act for critical minerals back in the spring of 2022. Rarely done and never been done before in this type of industry, and it really does say to the world, and certainly to the United States, that we're in desperate need for supply. So I think we're going to see a number of world-class projects in North America being permitted over the next few years. We're continuing to see capital flow into our sector, and hopefully Acme can be a part of that.
Well, your other project's in Manitoba. So Manitoba, in essence, falls in under the same domestic jurisdiction as Nevada, in the sense that it's North American based and is going to have open access to American markets. Bring us up to speed on where you're at on that project.
Well, Manitoba is interesting, and in particular in the southeastern region of Manitoba, near the U.S. border and near Ontario, the only lithium production in Canada exists at the Tanco mine, and it was bought by a very large Chinese company a number of years ago called Sino Mine. And what's produced there are what are called LCTs, lithium, cesium, and tantalum. And again, that mine's been in production off and on since 1969, is the only production in Canada. And so we are their southwest neighbor. We have a group of projects that are contiguous to their project. In fact, the mine's only 1.5 kilometers away from our project. And what's interesting about that region is you are near new battery factories that are being developed. There's one being built in Western Ontario, also another one being built in Eastern Ontario, backed by major auto manufacturers and the federal government of Canada. In fact, Prime Minister Trudeau has already announced up to $3 billion in funding to the critical minerals sector in Canada. So our location in Manitoba is very, very important in that we're near existing production. It's highly prospective for lithium found in hard rock, and we're excited to develop this project over time in meeting the domestic supply in Canada and the U.S.
Two great jurisdictions, two great neighbors. For investors, they're going to be saying, okay, tell me why now? Why should I be investing in Acme?
Well, as you say, closeology is important. We're in great jurisdictions in Manitoba and Nevada. There's huge support from the local communities as well as provincially and statewide, and then federally, as I previously mentioned. I think the timing is really good here for investors in Acme. We're about to drill at Clayton Valley here, upcoming. And in fact, we're about to drill in Manitoba, a winter program here. We're in late stages of permitting our project after extensive summer work in 2022. And I should have those permits here by year end. And then we hope to have rigs drilling and hopefully having success with the drill bit here in Manitoba here over the course of the winter. So lots of news coming at Acme, and hopefully we'll have some success and deliver on some results for making new discoveries for lithium.
Well, I also note that you've just signed an agreement with the local First Nations in Manitoba, and that's always important too. It's an essential part of doing business.
Well, certainly in Canada, and whether it's reserve or ancestral lands, working in collaboration with First Nations is very important to us. We have a great relationship with Saugeen. We've signed a collaboration agreement with them so that there's mutual benefit. We already have employed quite a number of Saugeen over the course of our summer program, whether it be in staking or structural mapping or sampling. So, we work in collaboration with them. We want to make sure that we're stewards of the land, burial grounds, fishing and hunting, environmental issues, water issues, all those things are important to us. And so we use best practices in what we do. And again, working in consultation and collaboration with Saugeen is important as we move forward. And they're looking for economic benefit as well. And so hopefully over time we can create more jobs and give back to the community. And again, be a good steward of the region. And that's important for us as we grow our business.
Next couple of quarters are going to be quite exciting for you. What are you going to ask viewers and investors to be looking to over the next few months?
Well, these projects are very exciting. This is a great stage to be involved with Acme. Obviously, when you start to drill, that's when you can create huge value with intercepts. And for us, hopefully, we'll have some good fortune with the ground. We've done all our homework. We've done all the prep work. Now the test is, can we get results? So it's a very interesting time for investors to be involved. We're also backed by some key institutions in Canada and the US. One of our largest shareholders is Waratah Capital's Electrification and Decarbonization Fund, as well as Lithium Royalty Corporation. A number of other mining funds are involved with us, as well as retail shareholders who have been very supportive. So we're in a good position from a funding standpoint. We have all the money we need to complete this phase 2 in Clayton Valley, Nevada at our lithium brine project. We have all the funds we need to get through this winter drill program in Manitoba. So we're in good shape that wise, and we have even a little bit left over after that. So hopefully with success, we've got some runway here through all of 2023. And again, hopefully we can deliver on results for our shareholders.
Well, I wish you success for a couple of reasons. One, of course, you want the company and for shareholders to benefit, but two, to be in a place where you can be supplying those very critical elements and metals and minerals that are going to be required for the world that's rapidly closing in on us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Appreciate your time today, Stuart.
Yeah, thank you.